Welcome again to Mr. Fuller's AutoCAD 2019 certification training. And we're going to draw arcs. I have placed some lines, just some arbitrary length lines on my screen to use as props. And I have spaced those 4 units apart. You can do that if you want. You don't have to place them 4 units apart. But if you want to know how I did that, I simply took a line, I drew it, okay, and then I escaped from the command, and I used the offset symbol right here, the offset tool, and I type in the distance I want offset. Okay, right now it just remembers what I had in there last time. So you can type in 4 or 5 or whatever it is you want, hit the enter button, select the object, and click again to place the object. You can do it again. It stays in that command as you go. So click on it again to offset it 4 units. Click again to place it. Click to select. Click to place. Click to select. Click to place. And you don't have to hover your mouse exactly over where you're putting it at. But just like so. Okay, so that's how I get those lines. But what we want to do is we want to talk about arcs. And arcs, we have many different arcs here. And I'll go over those. The 3-point arc, of course, measures the arc or establishes the arc on 3 points that you click. So, and you can do this in space. You don't have to have other reference lines to connect to. But you can just do it in space. And you would click on your first point, second point, and third point. And that works like this. Okay, so first point of my arc right here. And then I'm stretching out. I'm going to find the second point of my arc, which is just anywhere I want it to be. And then the third point. You see I'm stretching this arc out in all different kinds of ways. And it's not going to do anything until I click on that third point. And there's our 3-point arc. The next arc is the start, center, end, meaning I establish the start point, the center point, and then the end point to make my arc. And this is how that works. You can see in the picture here, the clicks, the numbers that are in green says 1 for the first point, 2 for the second point, which is in the center, and then 3 for the end of the arc. So if I was going to do that, start, center, end, I would start my arc here. This would be the center of my arc. And this would be the end of my arc. Okay. Now, one thing to remember is the way that draws the arc out to the right. And I don't think there's any way to adjust that center. No, there isn't. So, but how can you change that? Well, what I can do, let's go ahead and delete that arc, is instead of starting at the bottom over here on the left side, I could start at the top. And then that will make the arc swing out in this direction. So first point, center point, and then end point. And you see how the arc is now swinging out to the left. The next arc is the start, center, angle. Okay, so this will establish the angle that I want this arc to be at. So if I want my arc to start here, okay, and it said, let's see, what did that say again? Start, center, and angle. So let's go over here, start. There's the center of my arc. And then now I'm establishing the angle. So maybe I don't want it to go all the way over here. Maybe I just want that arc to maybe go a certain, angle throughout this point. Okay, and as you can see, the angle that it's measuring at 114 degrees is basically from that start point and then shooting a straight line out to the left and to the right. And it's kind of hard to explain, but you just have to kind of picture geometry. If you know geometry, you know what I'm talking about. So that line is right now at 90 degrees, the arc. The next arc is start, center, and then length. Okay, so basically, well, actually, let's hover over that and get some instructions. So start, center, and length. So I click on my start point, which is number 1, and then I click on the center of where I want my arc to be, and then I will drag it out until I get the length that I want. So if I'm going to create an arc, I can start down here, start, there's the center, and then length. Okay, and that's almost just like this right here with the angle, but maybe I don't know the angle that I want, but I do know the length that I want. Okay, maybe I don't want a full arc. Maybe I don't know what the angle is, but I know I want it to be 7 units, so I'll type 7 right there and enter. And I'll have that 7-unit long arc. Okay, next is start, end, and then angle. So hovering over the instructions, I can click on 1, which will be my start point, 2, which will be my end point, and then I move the cursor around to establish the angle of the arc. So let's try that one. Start, end, angle. Start, I want it to end here, and there is the angle. Okay, so it's creating an angle right there. And if I want it to be, let's say 45 degrees, I would actually type in 135. And I have a 45-degree angled arc. As you notice, it's not pulled all the way out to make a 90-degree angle arc. And let's see, the next one is start, end, and direction. And the instructions tell us that we can click on the start point, which is point 1. We can click on the second point, which is the end point, and then direction, which would be which direction do we want this arc to go. That was kind of the problem we were trying to figure out earlier when we first started on that 3 point. So start, end, and which way do we want it to go? This way or that way? And of course the measurement, I think here is that, yeah, it's really hard to really tell by the angle of what you're doing. You just kind of have to pull it out to wherever you need it. Yeah, that would be at 39, 44, 45. Okay, doesn't quite look like a 45, but anyway. We can even do other stuff like that, but it's kind of weird. But anyway, the next one would be start, end, and radius. So in the instructions, I can click on point 1, which is my start point, point 2, which is my end point, and then I can drag the cursor and click at point 3 to get the angle for the arc, or the radius for the arc. So start, end, radius. Start, end, and then radius. See how that adjusts there. Okay, so now we got center, start, and end. So at center, start, and end, I choose the center first. I choose the center, and then I choose the start point of the arc, and then the end point. So I'm going to choose the center, then the start point. I want the end point to be up here. And then there we have an arc. You see I clicked here first, so it did not attach any geometry to this line. It only attached it to my second click, which was my start point. Let's see, center, start, angle. It should be pretty much the same almost. So center, start point, and then the angle that we want that to be. Let's say we only want it to be right there at 90 degrees. Then we have center, start, and length. Let's say I want this to be, actually I want this to be my center, start, and then length. Okay, kind of like what we had done earlier, just from a little different perspective. Okay, so if I only want that to be 5 units, type F5 and then enter. Now I have a 5-unit long arc. And let's see, continue. This is a new one. I haven't seen this one on here before in one of the older versions. Maybe it was there and I just didn't realize it. And it looks like it's going to continue the last arc that you created. So if you need if you have an arc and then you want to continue that arc, you can do this and then do all kinds of other weird things with it. Put it right there. Now we have some sort of monstrosity on our screen. Alright, so that's the end of the arcs. And I think the next one, and we're going to go ahead and cut it here. It's already an 11-minute video, but our next one is going to be draw polylines. So stay tuned for polylines.